All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is the very first edition of what we're going to name this podcast. Let's talk real talk, reality talk. Reality talk. Real life. We're going to talk real life. Facts.
And that's what's going to be about politics.
It is. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. Politics, religion, and whatever else that comes to mind, we just gonna go along. We don't even have a topic board that we normally can go by, just stuff that you could talk about, like as in.
He's just not as smart as me, basically.
Well, that's her opinion. But again, this is our first episode, and you see it. My shirt clearly says you see it. But we're gonna talk about that because that's a topic in it by itself. And one thing I want to say that I noticed about her generation, which I was born in 1982, so that makes me a millennium.
Millennial,
because 2000 is millennial. Yeah, and she's Gen X.
No, I'm Gen Alpha. I mean Gen Z.
Gen Z, correct, Gen Z. So there's a huge disconnection in her generation and my generation. So the first thing we're going to talk about is teenagers that's different from my generation of teenagers. So the very first topic is going to be why is there a bit that disconnect between teenagers and parents that have teenagers? Where's the disconnection coming from? Because technically, we've all done the same thing. We've all said the same things to our parents. But her generation, as she says, things are different. They are not the same. Would you care to elaborate on what you mean when you say what you mean? When you say
I'll just say things are much more harder than it was back then. Because, back then, they didn't have to do as much hard things. Like, A equals 84 divided by 54. That's more like new stuff. So, they had it easy back then. We got it harder than them.
Okay, but we had, what is that called? It's not called math. It's called something. What's the actual
Algebra?
Word? Algebra, yes. We did have algebra back in my day in high school. Now, I will say it was not as hard as they got it because algebra, I can't even help it with no algebra. I just cannot help it with no algebra. The only thing I can help it with algebra is, I guess Google. I guess Google's going to be the one that's going to help her. But anyway, like she just said, her generation of math is not the same as my generation of math when I was in school. So we're going to move on to the second topic, which is, I hear, and it's not just my daughter, I come to find out this. It's not just my daughter who says this, who don't believe in heaven or hell.
So
hold on. Let me bring you in. Because I know this is a hot topic for you. Now, when I grew up, I had my grandmother, I had my mother. I went to church at least 4 times a week when I was growing up. This is why I still go to church to this very day. But the reason I believe in God and not science, and she has the right to say that. I'm not going to, I see how she's giving me the look.
You're getting it mixed up because, there's other...
You know what? I'm going to let you go first, and then I'm going to retort.
Not everybody doesn't believe in God. I respect other people, beliefs. There's not, a billion people. There are, atheists, but, they don't go around saying, I don't believe in Jesus and stuff. That only comes to a topic when people are, when Christians are, disrespecting their beliefs. They, barely bring it up. They're in disguise, basically. There's not a bunch of people that, really that don't believe Jesus. It's not like that. But it isn't even just teenagers, it's adults too.
Okay,
half of them are actually more adults than teenagers, actually.
Okay, how did you come to this conclusion of your own serenity of saying that you believe in science? Can you explain to the people?
Well, not really.
In your own way.
I'm pro reality. Not I believe in science, but I'm pro reality, not like that. So let's change up the terms. I'm pro reality. He's not.
When you say pro reality, can you tell the people?
I'm logical.
People my age, can you tell them what that means?
So if you don't know what pro reality
means, I do know
pro
reality, but some people may not understand if your terminology.
So basically, I'm more logical. I'm just
So when you say science, you don't believe in heaven or hell. You say you believe in the science of heaven.
Well, no, I believe in reincarnation.
Reincarnation as in God does exist? Are you
No, like
reincarnation as in...
reincarnation as if a person dies and gets reincarnated into an animal or another body.
So you believe when you die, you go into an animal?
You can go into an animal, and that's been proved many times.
By what? What's backing up your facts?
There's actual like true videos. There's movies based off true facts. Science proved that.
But you're not giving the people where can they find this information?
You can search it up on Google, if anything. But like, if you want to act like a real, like, he probably acts like a really like professional like scientist or like someone that studies like reincarnation and stuff. Because there's people that do, but like, I don't know much about it. Like,
but why do you? My whole thing is they gotta want to know is why. What makes you believe into what you believe in?
Because like most people don't know what happens after death. Like, there's nothing like actually proving what happens after death. Like, maybe like it gets passed on. I just believe that religion is a way to cope with reality. Because like genuinely like, we've like had no logical proof that this sky daddy or Jesus exists, and no disrespect, but like I'd rather have like logical proof. Like every time I have a conversation with somebody, they can't like actually like give me like real evidence as if I'm giving them more. So like I just like, and if this Jesus is real, then why is he threatening with hell if you're like not obeying him and promising? No, he's promising. No, listen. He's promising you heaven and threatening hell if you don't obey or listen to his rules or whatever. That sounds like really narcissistic.
Okay, pause. Put a needle in that for a second. We're gonna come right back to that. We're gonna dig into that right now. Now, as an adult, as a 43-year-old man who's been in church almost my whole life. Now, at one point, when my grandfather died, I cursed God. I didn't believe in God. I asked God, why do you let these bad things happen? And I come to understand two things is for sure, in my opinion, not hers, not mine. In the Bible, it says there is a heaven, there's a hell. The reason why, God gives us free will to do right and to do wrong. Now, I know you're going to say something about that, but God gives you free will because if God made us just like him, but he put in us free will. So if we chose to seek him, the keys of the church will be open to you.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So if how come he let slavery and the Holocaust happen? If he was real, how come he let slavery go on that long? How come he let the Holocaust go on that long? How come he let all this disrespect go on?
Give me one question at a time. What's your first question?
Why did Jesus let slavery go on that long? And why did he let the Holocaust? You know what the Holocaust is, right?
I do.
How did it come he let that go on that long? Like, shouldn't he at least like try to help them? Like, that's like really like, and that's like another reason why, like, if he was so faithful and stuff and like gives like gifts, then why would he let slavery go on for that long? Why would he even create like evil people? Like, isn't like he's supposed to like, okay. I'm sure he wanted I'm sure he wanted this world to be respectful and really like nice. How come he let it get to that point where slavery went on for like tons of years and the Holocaust go on and like millions of people are dying? You're telling me that Jesus made that happen all for a reason? Okay, if you're gonna say that, if that's the case, God allowed 9/11 to happen. Now, let me just dig into this really deeply. It goes back to what I said originally. God gives people free. God died for our sins. Let's start there. God originally came on earth. God was a human person in the beginning. He was a human person, and people ridiculed him, talked about him. All the stuff that we go through that's bad, God has already been through all the things that we have been through. He hasn't been through slavery.
Well, yes, he did. They whooped him. He was white. No, God is black. That's a whole nother conversation. We'll get into that another day. That's a whole nother chapter. So
I would just say he's a Native American at its max. Okay,
we'll agree to disagree on that. But let me answer your question. Like I say, God died for everything that happens on earth. God has already died for and already has accountability for it already. Now, how do I say it so I can understand it? Put it in your terms.
You don't need to. You can speak.
Okay, I'll put it in your terms. Okay, you're going through all what you're going through right now, and whenever you have kids someday, you could tell your kid, hey, don't do that because you've already been through that. That's the same thing.
See, I wouldn't be that type of kid. I like them learn from mistakes.
But why would you let your kid bump their head if you have already been through it already? For instance, if you tell your child, hey, that stove is hot, don't touch that stove. You've already given your child the warning that the stove is hot. Your child did what they wanted to do. They touched the stove after you told them the stove was hot. They went over there and figured out that the stove was hot.
And then they got burned. So
That's correct.
I'd rather them learn from their mistakes. If I already gave them a warning and they did it, then they have to learn from their mistakes. I mean, like,
So
obviously.
you're making my point. God gives us free will to do what we want. If we so choose to do wrong, it is up to us to go back and fix ourselves, so to speak.
Okay, hold on. Because I actually have a few notes I've had like maybe like a month ago, and I'll read these out. I just need my phone charger.
This discussion is very deep for her. It is deep for me because
It isn't deep for me. This is like a regular thing.
there's a plug on the floor in front of us.
There's one behind me too.
Oh, well. So her thing is she believing that God was science that, okay, do you believe in...
I believe Jesus is a miracle.
Okay, do you believe Adam and Eve? Do you know what Adam and Eve is?
Yes.
Okay, what is Adam and Eve to you? And you got to come into the camera so you can see.
I don't believe in that theory because, like, notice how, like, all of this comes from the Bible. And who wrote the Bible?
Man, and God told man what to write in the Bible. Everybody has different chapters in the Bible for what you go through.
What species was that God or person? What species was that person?
Man and women.
No. Like, with the species, I'm asking what... Not gender, species. What species were they?
They were human.
Exactly. So a human wrote that.
Correct.
Human.
But God inspired them to write that. Just
Right.
like if something happened to you and I decided to write a book in your honor, I would say in Journey's honor, I'm gonna write this book in her honor. Everything that you've been through, I'm gonna put in the book. That's what God did. God put people in the Bible that they went through things in the Bible and they wrote what we should do and what we shouldn't do.
So you just proved my point. So a human wrote the Bible like years and years and years ago. So you still believe in something that, and like maybe it's like faith or whatever. It's called faith, which kind of like not pro reality, but like that the Holy Bible or whatever was written years
BC, before
billions ago,
correct.
and you're still believing in the Bible. A random man with that
Wow, okay,
skydiving.
hold on. You say random man. Who is the random man you speak? You saying God is a random person?
I mean, I guess.
So God is a random person to you?
Well, no, he's just.
Okay, when you go to sleep at night, what makes you think when you go to sleep, you go to sleep on your own? Do you feel like you go to sleep on your own when you go to sleep at night?
Yes, I mean, obviously, if you're sleepy, you go to bed. I mean,
But do you think you go to sleep on your own tuition and wake up on your own tuition?
Yeah.
Because God can decide whether He wants to wake you up or keep you.
So basically, that's also proving my point. Jesus is a narcissist. He, like, literally, you're just proving my point. You wake up because of your lungs and your brain.
God gives you the lung and the brains to wake up.
But how do you know that?
Because God gave your mama birth to birth. How do you think babies are even in their mother's stomach for 9 months? God gives them birth for 9 months so you can get here. He gives you life. God gives life. God takes life.
So apparently, I have to go back how reproduction works.
We know how God gave people reproduction.
But how do you know that?
Because
where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that information from, basically? The Bible?
No, I didn't get reproduction from the Bible. No.
I'm saying, like, where did you learn this from? The Bible, other people?
No, my parents, my grandmother, all of my family have passed this down. So what I'm simply saying is, you say you don't believe in God. Okay, I get that. You say you're atheist. I get that. Because you're young and you're still, your mind is still developing. I get that. I respect your opinion of what you're saying. But some of what you're saying is not factual. It's not even Googleable.
No, it is. Everything I'm saying is Googleable. You just, like, literally, I'm asking you where you're getting all this information from, and you're telling me that your parents or whatever passed this down from you, but, like, there's no, like...
Correct.
But, like, I mean, like, actual, like, some... Like, you're not being pro-reality right now. You're
What
like...
do you mean I'm giving... Okay.
You're saying that your parents, like, brung you down to this point where, like, you just know, but, like, did the Holy Bible tell you that? No.
It's in the Holy Bible, you know, okay.
Reproduction makes a baby, not Jesus.
Correct.
Two humans make a child, not Jesus.
That is correct, but God makes that baby for 9 months to keep it healthy and strong. They give you, okay, let's table that. Let's just table that point. Okay. Do you believe sin is real?
Huh?
Do you believe sin is real?
No.
You don't believe sin is real. So when bad things happen to people, or good things can happen to good people. Do you believe that?
Well, he does that because he's a narcissistic. I mean, like, half of this stuff wouldn't happen if he could, like, so you, like, if you have faith, let's say if a child was drowning, can Jesus save that child?
No, he gives
They
somebody...
have to save it. They have to save them themselves. There's millions of kids that die from accidents. How come he can save them from those? He did that. let's just say if a parent died, was that all for a reason? Did Jesus did that on purpose? Like, it's not making sense. Why would Jesus take a perfectly fine child or adult out their lovely life just because he wanted to?
Okay, that goes to the question, why do we get old? Nobody wants to get old and, well,
I'm talking about a child.
I get that, but same thing for an adult. We don't want to get old and die. I don't want to die. Nobody wants to, wake up in some morning when they get old and old and older and they pass away. Nobody wants to live just to die. None of us want to live just to die.
So I'm just gonna ask a few questions, okay?
So, I mean, you're saying a child, whether a child die, no adult want to get old and die. Do you want to get old and die?
I mean, like, that's like, that if I can, then obviously I'd rather get old and die from like an accident or get shot or something. Like, yeah, I'd rather get old and have a fully life than die over an accident or something. That's like the most comfortable way to die. Like, I'd rather die in my own bed when I'm old and experience everything.
So you're saying you rather go away in your pass away in your sleep?
Yeah, if I'm like old and I've lived through everything, then like, yeah, but like I wouldn't want to die from like a car accident or something. But moving on from that.
So if you're saying that, you're proving my theory. You can pray for God to give you that as you get older, and you can ask God to allow you, and ask God to allow you to say, God, I want to live to be 95 years old. I would like to go in my sleep. You can ask God for that. And God does give prayers. He does give you what you want. You just have to pray for what you want and believe that he's going to give it to you.
But how do you know?
Because he just will. He'll give it to you. So, I mean, I can point out several things in my life that he's done in my life for me. So
you're worshiping a Bible, some random person made in 2,000 trillion years ago, and some mirrorless lives in the sky, the same God that punishes people
for their sin,
who don't worship and believe in him, then go to hell.
God is a jealous God.
Jealous God, okay. So you're worshiping a narcissist. Now let's say another person, a human, had this God complex. Would you support that person?
Hold on, what do you mean God complex? Explain.
A person that believes they're a God, or like they believe they have control on anyone. A random person, would you worship that person? If they had like a God complex.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you worship somebody else that's not God.
So would you?
That is a jealous. Okay, like me. I'm gonna put me. I love football. I love football. You would say I worship football. Do you believe I worship football?
No.
But I love football. I talk about football.
But you're not answering my question. Just say yes or no.
Okay, what was your question?
If this random guy had a God complex, believing he had control on all people when he's just a random person, would you worship that person?
No.
Exactly. That's the same as Jesus was Jesus. He's a human too.
No, but he don't have any kind of powers as God do.
Okay.
God has power of control of the earth. God controls what happens on earth as it is in heaven. It's part of your Lord's Prayer. As it is in heaven.
In the Bible, it says, worship me or suffer forever. It's not a love or ultimate. If God's response to rejection is torture, then not only is he obsessive and jealous, but he's a narcissist. Religion is a coping mechanism. You resort to believe once you're depressed, and you think God is going to save you. Let's say you are drowning, or your intruder came into your house. Can he save you from that? Will he save you? He'll be like, no.
No, that's
he watched. No. He watched slavery go on and didn't do anything about it. He didn't do anything.
Yes, he did do something about it.
Yes, Holocaust.
He did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, because those people eventually died from all the torture. He just sat there and watched. Like, at least he could at least did something. I could have gave like a little bit of faith. But I'm pretty sure
God had a purpose for everything that has happened on earth.
But I'm pretty sure that the slaves or whatever were begging for them to be saved, and he didn't do anything.
I'm sure they did.
He waited till they died to
but
give
look,
them.
But look what ended up
happening
to them. They went on to heaven.
Yeah, and like history, but like, how come he didn't save them at that time? Like,
I can't question what God does. You're not supposed to even question what God does because God has a purpose for everything.
But can he save you from getting shot? Can he just appear and just stop the bullet?
God could if he wanted to. Yeah, I can say if he wanted to, yes, he could. But why would he want to do that just for me when he could do it for everybody else on the face of the earth? Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say hell to me is on earth. Hell is on earth. I don't think there's an actual physical hell in my explanation. I personally think hell is on earth. Because all these bad things that's going on is on earth of what's happening.
Well, technically,
heaven is a happy place. Heaven is a place where everybody wants to go when they die.
But how do you know heaven exists? It's from the Bible, right?
Correct.
All right.
Bible is correct.
But have you physically saw the heaven?
No, but I believe
those
God.
Pearly gates.
You're laughing, baby.
But basically, you're saying he's basically saying if you don't believe him, you're going straight to the pits. So, and he also, let's say if someone committed suicide and
that's a sin, a bigger sin.
That's a sin, but he'll send you to hell and make you suffer even more, even though
because you have no reason to do it to yourself.
If you were already suffering enough on earth and you commit and you go to whatever judgment or whatever, and he sent you to hell even though you're already suffering enough, that's just bad enough. Like you are suffering enough on earth, and then you die, and then you go to heaven.
No, you didn't die. You did it to yourself.
Yeah, but like, why would he send you to hell if you were already suffering enough?
Something made that person do that.
Because they were suffering on earth.
We all suffer on earth, but guess what we do? We pray and we do the best we can to live the best life that we possibly can. If you have loved ones, if you have a good circle around you, a family and friends, if you have a good positive energy around you, then you're not going to think about doing stuff like that. You think about doing stuff like when you're alone and you have your thoughts to yourself. If you had bad thoughts to yourself, you're going to think negative.
Okay,
it's automatic. You're going to think negative.
This is exactly what a cult person would say to a non-believer, though.
I'm being okay. Hold on.
You know how people go to church and then they'll like preach and stuff. They're basically trying to bring you into Jesus, but that's what a cult person would do. That's literally how a cult person behaves. When they try to get you to join their cult or whatever, they'll persuade you and give you constantly things about this amazing person.
How could you call a church? But because
it is. It literally is. You're going to some place to worship a God. That's a cult.
That is in heaven, that's looking down, correct?
Right. So
but why do you call it
in the Bible?
Go back to the quote thing.
Hold on. So in the Bible, there was this little kangaroo that hopped all the way in Noah's Ark to Australia. Do you believe that?
Yep.
Okay. So you actually believe that?
Because God had Noah's Ark that was full of animals. He saved those animals through Noah's Ark.
So if this God created us just to worship and obey and submit to Him, then we exist for His own benefit, and that is
exactly.
And that definition is narcissism. That's literally the definition of that.
The reason we exist is to worship. The whole purpose of us to even be on earth in the first place. Let's go back to the very beginning of the Bible. In the very beginning of the Bible, we're supposed to worship God. That is supposed to be our original purpose. We got sidetracked amongst other things on earth, like living our lives, like raising our kids, going to work, making money. Money is the root of all evil.
But who put that there? Jesus, right? Who put that there? So if he knew how things were going to end up, and he just
free will,
and he knows that it's going to send him to hell, then what was even the point of creating us?
Because God gave you free will to do right and to do wrong.
Then religion.
Do you know right from wrong?
Duh.
If you get up and just go randomly slap somebody, do you know it's wrong?
Yeah.
So my point is you knew it was wrong when you did it.
So
did anybody tell you to go slap somebody?
No.
Okay, so my point being, God gives you free will to do right or to do wrong. It's very simple, to do right or to do wrong. So
from that benefit, religion is a human invention, a human created religion. They created multiple people created multiple religions. Designed.
It's only supposed to be one religion, but keep going.
But they're designed to manipulate people through fear and force them to worship a God and control them by promising heaven and threatening hell. Prove me wrong, but hold on. If God is truly real, like everybody else says, and is powerful and the creator of everything, then nothing can exist or happen without His will. Not suffering, not evil, not human flaws, not even the choices we make on a daily basis through free will. Because the moment He exists outside of His will, He will stop being all powerful, and that alone breaks the whole idea. Even me being on probation, that was God's plan.
No, we're not talking about that. But
or someone dying in a plane accident. Was that all?
Let's talk about the recent events of what just happened to that guy that got shot. Let's talk about that.
It's Charlie Kirk, but
let's talk about him. Do you think that was?
But hold on, answer my questions before that.
Okay, what's your direct question?
I just read it.
Okay, read the last part of it. I didn't hear the last part of it.
So you weren't listening.
I was listening, but the last part of it I didn't catch. You were talking very fast.
I said, if God is truly real, like you say it is, and all-powerful, and the creator of everything, then nothing can happen or exist without His will. Not suffering, not evil, not even human flaws, not even the choices we make through free will, because the moment He exists outside His will, He will stop being all-powerful, and that alone breaks the whole idea of Him even existing.
Where's the logic to that? Because He is still going to be the person, whether He's on earth and let you allow. Again, it gives you free will to do so. So you said if God come back to earth, He loses all His powers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Why would He lose His powers all of a sudden?
Because He's
what
on
logic
earth.
is that?
Like
he could turn into human, because we can't fathom seeing how creative and how He's all powerful. Our brains cannot even phantom. You know what phantom mean? Our brain cannot phantom his type of
Function.
power.
Function.
He's all powerful, all knowing.
Okay, so you do know there's like multiple sections in your brain. That all works with your brain. Jesus did not create that. Reproduction did. You slowly grow in the womb, and that's how you created. That's how you'll be able to move. Your bones are formed. Your brain will function. That's how you basically you're adapted in the womb. Jesus did not put you there. Sperm did. That's how reproduction works. You grow in the womb. Jesus didn't just put you there. You have to have that many steps to have a child.
Okay,
Jesus
hold
can't
on.
just put a
So
baby.
what about babies that don't get to get created and they lose
So you're saying abortions, basically.
No, I'm not talking about abortion. I didn't say abortion. I'm saying things that just happen if that baby baby's not miscarriages of things of that nature. I was trying to put it in nicer terms.
They die in the womb because they weren't taken care of properly, or the child wasn't properly formed all the way. They're like
So
miniature
do you
babies.
think that's God's doing, or do you think that's the devil's doing?
That's Jesus doing.
No, that's not Jesus.
He
Why would God want to hurt something that he created? That makes literally no sense.
But then you just proved my point, though. You literally just said that Jesus can take people out their life and put them in, so he could do the same with a child or a baby.
Okay, it goes back to what I already said. God allowed
You're
us
going back
free
on your,
will.
you're
No, I'm
going-
not going back
No,
on
you're
it.
going back on the same thing. You just didn't agree, and then you're agreeing to it. You just said, like, things happen for a reason, and Jesus takes people
All
out their
things happen
life.
for a reason.
So he could do the same with a newborn baby that hasn't even been formed yet.
But God has a reason for everything that he does.
So-
we have to believe that God has a purpose, a meaning, and purpose behind everything. Just like we do when we are parents. There are reasons why we do things. There are reasons why we say things. There are reasons why we try to lead our children to not go down the same path that we have went down.
Well, let's use you for example. Let's say you got in an accident. Is that our Jesus plan? You wouldn't want that. You'll be wondering, Jesus, why? I was having sex with a
okay, hold on.
You wouldn't want that to happen to you, though, would
Okay,
you?
hold on. There's things that happen in my life that I will simply say, I ask God why. I cursed God. I said every curse word you could physically imagine to him. I cursed him. I stopped believing him for a very long time. And I just wondered. But I came back to him.
And why?
Because he rewards you for the good things that you do. He rewards you by showing you and giving you exactly what you asked for. I do believe in it. Just like when you ask your mom or when you ask us for certain things and we don't get it right away and we say we make you earn it, we're making you put in the work. We're not just giving it to you. Now, I will say, when you was younger, I just gave you, and I didn't give you any structure. That's on me. That is not on you. That is on me. That is on myself. I don't blame nobody for that. That's on me. Same thing with God. God gives us everything that we could possibly dream and want. Have you ever asked God for anything?
No.
So you've never
Well,
asked
I
God for anything?
have, back then, I did believe in Jesus at one time. I'd beg and pray for him to answer my prayers of what I was going through, but he didn't. Eventually, I gave up because I'm literally, he had every option to respond to one of my prayers at his max, and he didn't. So that's when I just stopped believing because, there's no point of that. He's never answered none of my prayers before. I haven't gotten anything.
Have you ever stopped to listen to it? Have you ever gave yourself a time to sit back and wait for him to give you answers? It's different ways that he gives you answers. Sometimes through people, sometimes through it could be something. God does a certain way.
I was young.
Okay, what?
I was maybe 6 to 7. So that's in the past, but I'm pretty sure he had every option to, though. He had options.
I'm sure.
But he didn't. He chose not to. So he made me suffer, basically. Literally, he made me suffer. And you're, defending this guy or whatever.
God. I'm saying God, not a guy.
That you've never saw in person,
I've never
only
saw
through the
him.
Bible. How do you know, you don't even know what happens after death. And, you've only heard through the Bible. You don't know what truly happens after death until you experience it
Hold on.
yourself.
I will say this. I will say this.
What if there's just blackness?
There are different. In the Bible, it says when we die, we don't go anywhere. We go to the grave until God calls. Till the world ends in Revelation. Till the world ends. The last days are really living. We really are living in our last days. There's things that's going on right. There are things that's happening right now in the world that is horrible, horrific in the world that I can say we really are living in Revelation. That's the last book of the Bible.
Why did he create hatred?
Why do you create hatred? Not God didn't create hatred. The devil created hatred. There is a heaven, there is a hell. The devil created anything of sin. The devil created.
So the devil is a
Oh,
myth.
the devil-
The devil is a myth. There's no devil.
Yes,
it's
it
a
is.
myth. So
So you don't believe in evil spirits?
no, I
don't believe in
I
ghosts?
believe in the paranormal, but that's
the same thing.
no, it isn't. Spirits, evil. There's evil spirit. There's evil spirits, and there's good spirits, and that's been actually proved. Literally, there's difference. Some
Angel or the devil, one of the two.
no, they're like evil, actual like
That's
real
the same
spirits.
thing, though.
No, humans can't be angels.
Mm,
Spirits can't be angels. They can't be devils or evil either. So that's a myth. Not nothing that's actually been proved. Unless you like actually like saw the devil, then like there has to be like some type of proof that like I need evidence of all this. Like you're saying all this
read
stuff.
it. It's literally in the Bible. It's
The
literally-
Bible that a human wrote trillion, billion years ago.
Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna put it in your terms. Let's say something happened to you and you wrote about it in your Bible and you gave it to your son
So
or your daughter. Hold on. And you gave it to your son or your daughter and you wrote this Bible in your terms. You gave it to your. Would you want your child to follow your Bible?
No,
Because you've been through things. There are things you could put in the Bible. Hey,
I'm not gonna force my beliefs on children either, because
No.
they're children. They don't have to follow anything. They have to learn from their mistakes. And I'm not gonna be that type of parent that's like, oh, you don't listen to me. This is what's gonna happen, and blah blah blah. See, no,
so you're not gonna lead them on the right track.
I can, but like they always have their option when they're older to not. And then whatever happens from there, that happens because they didn't want to. Like I'm gonna like eventually, it's being pro reality is gonna help you in the future.
So pro reality.
Just like threatening your child 24/7 isn't gonna make them do better. It's just gonna make them fear you, and they ain't gonna want to talk to you. So like, I don't want that. Wouldn't want that for my kid.
So what you're saying is,
I don't want to threaten my child with a reward and also like promising them with a reward and threatening with punishment. That's the same thing Jesus is doing, and it's being passed on to other parents. They'll promise you with a reward and threaten you with discipline. Like that's literally like bribing someone.
that's redirecting bad behavior and good behavior.
So you believe in hitting your children?
Well, when they're younger, spankings, yes, we all have. There's nothing right. Even in the Bible, spoil the child. I forgot exactly what verse it, but yeah, it is whoopings on them. But it's a difference between whooping a child and beating the hell out of your child. It's a big difference.
So hitting
huge difference.
So
not in the face.
Hold
on. Let me be more specific with you.
I have a question.
Not in the face. But it says to whoop a child on the behind. That's what it says. Now I understand. We've had.
No, I have a question. What is it called when an adult hits another adult? What's that called? Assault, right?
More or less.
And then what's that happens when you hit an animal? What is that called? Animal abuse. So when a parent hits a child, what is that called?
Well, it depends.
It doesn't matter where it is. If an adult can hit another adult, and that's called assault. And a child or adult hits an animal, that's called animal abuse. But when an adult hits their kid, that's called discipline. But it isn't called child abuse. And like they're like physically like abusing the child. But like just spanking your kid isn't called child abuse. That's called discipline. Like if just an animal is being called animal abuse just for hitting him.
Because animals don't have no control over what they're not human like us.
And neither can children.
Yes, they can. Hold on. Okay, so if you babysitting, if your mom say, "Hey, I want you to watch your nephew till your mom get back from the store," are you gonna allow that nephew to go mess with the stove?
They can't even reach the stove.
I'm saying if you allow a toddler to come over there and mess with the button on it, would you let a child mess with the stove?
Well, I'm pretty sure they couldn't even reach it.
But I'm saying, hear me out. Hear me out.
If you're
babysitting, hold on. I'm answering your question. I'm saying if your mom said, "Hey, I need you to watch your nephew. I'll be right back," and you in your room and you see a toddler go around, you're gonna remove them from that stuff because you know bad things can happen if they mess with that stove.
If they can reach it, but like if they can't even reach the stove or the toggle, then there's nothing.
So you're just gonna disregard it and let them go over there.
If they can't reach it, then what exactly can that do to them?
But something still bad can happen from that child that's being over there by the stove.
How do you know that though?
So you're gonna wait for something to happen and then say?
If the stove is turned off and there's nothing on and they're just looking at it, then that ain't nothing wrong with that.
I didn't say anything was looking. I said they have to go over there. Something's gonna alert your brain and say, "Hey, let me go get this child from over here before something bad happens."
If I'm looking at them and they can't reach the toggle,
are you gonna pop and say, "No"?
No. I'm not gonna hit any child in general. If it ain't even my child, then no, I'm not gonna hit no other child. I wouldn't even hit my own kid. Cause that isn't right.
So if you see your child do something wrong and you're trying to redirect them to let them know, "Hey, no, don't do that. No.
No, cause hitting them is just gonna make them fear you. That isn't gonna make them want to do it. They're just gonna fear you.
But they're not gonna go do it again either.
You only have 10 minutes, and then you got to. So 10 minutes. Hurry up, wrap it up. Let's go. Hurry up, make it quick.
Hitting a kid is gonna make them fear you. By the way.
She's
Yeah, that was just an example.
she's not.
It says she's not babysitting. LOL.
Yeah,
So
I see what
like,
you're saying.
genuinely, like hitting a child is just gonna make them fear you. And I hate that term. I don't want to be my child's best friend. But you want them to fear you to the point they can even come and talk to you. Like that isn't talking to me.
Let's go back on what you just said. You said, you say you're not gonna tap your child.
No, I'm gonna sit them down and sit them down and be like, that isn't right and that isn't okay. And
So you're gonna do gentle parenting.
And mind you, they're children. They don't know wrong from right.
Right, so somebody have to teach them wrong.
Yeah, and talking to them will. Like you
Okay,
think,
what if
hold
that
on,
talking
you
doesn't
think,
work?
You think tapping a child or just hitting them is gonna make them just be good? No, they're not gonna do it because they know it's wrong. They're gonna do it because they fear you and they don't want to be hit again. That isn't the right way to parent
That's
at
not-
all.
okay,
That's
but-
like back in the day parenting. That was like cool and stuff because you can get away with a bunch of stuff back then, but not
Okay.
right now.
Your theory is you're not gonna tap your child for doing something
If they're a kid,
something simple as messing with the stove or
no, that's simple. I could just talk with them and tell them that
Okay,
it's
what
okay.
do you tell the child? Okay, we're gonna use the stove. We're gonna go back to the stove. What would you tell your child to redirect them? Tell them
I'll
not-
take them away from the stove. I'll remove them from the stove or whatever they are. I'll sit them down and look at them and I say, "Hey, that isn't okay. You can't mess with that because you'll get
But
hurt."
it's a baby. It's a baby. They don't understand that.
I'll make sure, like I'm talking about if they can. Let's talk about toddler or infant wise, or not like an infant, but like a toddler where they can't understand me. They just can't really like talk or like respond. But I'll make sure they'll know like the stove will burn you. I'll let them know like the consequences of touching it, but I won't hit them. I'll just let them know the consequences of touching the stove that's hot. I'm not gonna like force them, but obviously I'm gonna let them know the consequences of touching something that's hot and you're gonna get burnt. I'll be like, don't touch your stove or you're gonna get burnt. Not just say, no, don't touch the stove, that's bad. They're just gonna start crying and that's
Okay.
gonna make them fear
My
you.
question
And
to you-
eventually if
hold
you
on.
keep doing that and you keep hitting them and hitting them.
Hold on. Okay, I heard you. What they go back and mess with after you explain that to the baby, you sit there and explain to them, and they go over there and do it again anyway. Then what you gonna do? What's the next stage of your discipline if they don't listen
Then
to
you
that?
keep redirecting them. Ain't nothing wrong with
But
constantly
they're not listening
redirect.
to what you're saying. So when is your discipline coming into effect?
Then I'll put them in timeout.
What do you mean put them in time? Put them in the corner or?
Yeah, I'll put them in a corner. Like anything that doesn't involve hitting a kid, then that's fine. Like at least they're not gonna make them fear you. They're just gonna like it'll be enough just to let them know that their dad isn't okay. There's no point where you should be able to have enough energy or confidence to hit an infant or a toddler. Like at that point, then I feel like all parents should have to go through a mental health test to make sure they're even stable enough or emotionally stable enough to even have a kid. Because they have like backgrounds of child abuse or whatever, then they shouldn't even be having a kid in general. Like every adult before after they get pregnant, all of them should have to go through a test to make sure they're emotionally and physically stable to have a child. Before and after. Because half of these parents don't even be taking care of their kid. Like they'll have a
we're
kid.
not speaking on them. But I understand what you're saying. They got some parents that are unfit. I will agree with some. You got some parents that let their kids do whatever the hell they want to do. And that's why we have a lot of prisons. It's partly because of this. A lot of prisons are built because that child was not given love, affection, or they was not given a father or a mother to say, hey, that's wrong. They don't do that, whatever the case may be.
Or those parents that be like, oh, well, or they think that having a roof over your head is, or being fed is enough. Like, what about emotionally? Let's just talk about emotionally or mentally, not just physically. Like, I feel like parents only care about physically stuff, but like not emotionally or mentally. Like they'll think, well, I keep a roof under your head, keep clothes on your back, and feed you. Like that.
Hold on,
like
so let's pause. Let's put a needle in that. So you saying, as parents today, not just your parents, you're saying parents in general.
They should parents should be for you emotionally, physically, and mentally, not just physically. Like, yeah, keeping clothes on your back, feeding you, and having a roof on your head, that's like the bare minimum. That's what you're supposed to do as a parent. Should that even be something you should want? That shouldn't be something you should feel to do. That should be something you should want to do.
So anything outside of like providing your hair, getting your hair done, getting your phone bill, that's considered a luxury. Do you know those things are
I'm
considered a
not
luxury?
talking about getting your hair done. I'm talking about being there emotionally, feelings wise. I never mentioned anything about going shopping. or anything.
And you said the parent as a minimum. You saying the minimum?
They should be there when you're sad or when you're happy or when you're getting married or anything that's exciting in life, not just being there physically or providing stuff for you. Like that, you shouldn't even have a kid if that's how you want to act.
But okay, so what you say you're not addressing the discipline of raising kids, so your kid don't go out there in the world and do something wrong, because the world is not going to be so kind to your
Then
child, because
teach
you
them
did
about
not
that.
provide them enough knowledge and information to let them know, hey, this world is not what you think it is, son or daughter. Then you send them out into the world and they come back, Mom,
But
you
you
didn't
have to
tell
wait
me.
till them to get to that point. You can't take someone there for them to get there. Like, don't take them there unless you want them to get there. Like, you have to wait till they're old enough to understand about the world. Let them have a childhood at a time. You shouldn't just say straightforward, oh, this is how life's going to be. It doesn't mean rainbows and sprinkles. Wait till they're at least, like, almost, like, in their teenage eras, not even when they're kids, because they're kids. They want to experience childhood. They want to have fun, not learn about life at the age of 6 years old. That's, like, really, like, narcissistic right there.
Okay, I understand that. But as you grow, every year that you grow, you should have learned something about life or how you want
And
your
that's
life
what
maybe
school is
to be.
for. That's for school.
School only teach you how to count money.
No.
How they don't teach you things that how you're gonna live life, how you life outside of school. They only teach you the structure. Like it's going to a job. School is nothing more than a job to prepare you when you graduate to get out into the world to go get a job.
So you proved my point where I said school is unneeded for some people.
Yeah, school is needed to incline you
They
to
just
teach
teach
you.
you how to maybe like count money and read, but like, is that going to help you pay bills in the future?
Yes, because you gotta know how to count, and it's up to you how you manage your money too. Managing your money, managing your life, managing your mental state. Sometimes even managing your mental state
But
could be a thing.
school doesn't help you with that.
That's right. School doesn't help you with that.
But
Your parents do.
can they help you get? But like, what if their parent is emotionally there for them, only physically there for them? Then what?
Then there's a disconnect there. There needs to be a conversation to be had with all parents or with the parent and the child.
And that's kind of exactly what I said. All parents should have to go through that.
But it's not. I mean, it depends on the person, how a person was raised. Because everybody is raised differently. Every parent raised their child differently. They're raising their child based on how they were raised. But the thing is, they want their child to be better than how they was raised. For instance, I want you to be better than I could ever be. Your mom want you to be better than what you ever had.
But how could they be better? The only thing they're getting is negative feedback.
What do you mean?
I'm just using that as an example.
I mean, what do you mean? They're telling their kid like they're not giving them any good like.
They're not giving them good affirmations, basically. If you know.
So encouragement.
Yeah.
So when
there's not enough connection going on right there. Like for like if a child was only raised physically and not emotionally or mentally, and that child get raised up to be a really like a psychopath or something and wants to shoot up a school, and most school shootings are teenagers. Like half of them like 50-50 chance of an adult, but most school shootings happen with a teenager that's under 18. And you wanna know why? Because they weren't mentally or their parents were emotionally or mentally there for them. And that's an issue. Like that's a major issue in this population right now.
There were signs of that child having outbursts. Somebody ignored they ignored some of the signs that was already there. Now, I'm not being racist when I say this, so please don't take this out of context, but in Google, this is Googleable information. That is only a white crime. Because most crimes like that, the people going to the school, is white collar crimes. There's not too many black, you can Google this, it's not too many black people that's going out shooting schools.
Well, you don't necessarily need to Google it, you can just see that on the
so
news.
I'm simply saying, it doesn't make it right whether it's black or white. I'm just simply saying, statistics shows that this is a white collar crime in a white household. And they do a lot of that gentle parenting. But gentle parenting only lasts so long, so you have to be forced to deal with the realities of how the world is.
And you have to wait till they're at that stable age to
but
handle
why
that
just send you? Okay, why not? We're not giving you tools then. We're just sending you into the world thinking that you know it.
But I do. Like, there's some kids are going to be ahead of most kids. As for me, For me, I'm already ahead of most, and that's like another reason why I'm not in regular school, because like regular school doesn't work for me, and that's because like, I already know like half the stuff they're telling me, and I don't pay attention because like I don't know. I already
You're
know.
attention span, though.
No. I just know half the stuff. Like I'm not. Let's just say I'm more ahead of most kids at school, and I'll just say I'm like different, and I think I should be like in a school about like people, the kids are like me, like emotionally, physically, all types of physically, emotionally, and mentally like intelligent. Most kids aren't that way.
Do you consider yourself intelligent? Do you
Well,
consider yourself
not just
emotional?
me, not just
I'm
me.
just speaking of you right now, though. We're
Yeah,
speaking
no,
of your,
I'm saying
your
like,
opinion.
yeah, I'm saying like most people do. Like just teachers wise, my IEA teacher does. Like I'm actually like, she actually was trying to get me into this, Lamar University program to see if they can fit me in her like the gifted and intelligent kids program. But like we'll get to that point. Well, we'll get there. That's for another conversation. But like,
That is. So we're gonna wrap this up by simply asking you this question: would you be willing to give the Bible a chance? I read. Would you be willing to give a kid's version of a Bible?
I've read the Bible. I haven't read all of it, but I've read, and that's why, like, that's literally how I get half of my information. Half of the stuff they say in there isn't even actually true or logical. And I like to say this: I'm not against any religion, and there shouldn't just be one religion, because there's people that are Muslim. There's people that are Buddhists. There's multiple religions out there.
But we all pray to the same God. They call him Allah. They call him Buddha. They call God many names, but it all comes back to God. God.
Well, we don't necessarily know if there's other gods, do they? Do we? No.
There is one God.
You don't know that though. You like literally you have to experience other religions before you just say there's only one God. Like there's Muslim people, they don't believe in one. They call him Allah. Even though that does mean God, that the definition of like Allah means God. But like they're
My grandmother was a what do you call the people that come to your house? Jehovah's Witness. Yeah, my grandmother was a Jehovah's Witness.
That's
I believe, you know what my grandmother. I'm not saying I don't believe what my grandmother believed, but I believe God did die on the cross. Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe God died on the cross. I'm conflicted.
Jehovah's Witnesses are cults. Anyone could say that they're cults.
I didn't say that part.
Cause like birthdays should be celebrated, Christmas should.
Yeah, they don't believe in Christmas. They don't believe in birthdays. Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe in any of that stuff. That's why I disconnect with them. I don't believe that.
They're just crazy. I mean, there's the Jehovah's Witness is another religion, by the way. They're like, and that's like another that just proved my other point. There's multiple religions. There's Scientology. And by the way, Scientology isn't like a science thing. It's like an actual religion.
Now, before I get on here and shame your ass.
Okay, you said 2 minutes.
Now, 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. Let's go.
Okay.
Enough.
Okay. You guys.